So, Carlos, do you like paying $70 for next gen games that run at 1080p like they were 8th or 7th gen games? What? Oh, you think that's ridiculous. So do I, Carlos. We're on the same page with that. High five. Oh wait, you're a bird. You don't have hands. He can't high five me. Let's get into it. Skip it up and that up. All right, everybody, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that big, red, beautiful subscribe button and also hit the bell to get notifications of all my newest uploads. Thanks a bunch. So I have been a champion of the specs of the next-gen consoles, both from Sony and Microsoft. I think they're substantial upgrades, even from the mid-gen upgrades of the 8th-gen consoles, the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X. But it still concerns me when I see games running at anything less than 1440p. I've also complained about the Xbox Series S, where I always use it as a perfect example. Gears 5, if you want to play it at 120 FPS, a multiplayer mode, has a dynamic resolution that could go all the way down to 720p in 2021 or 2020. 720p. That's like, that resolution shouldn't be a thing even with dynamic resolutions. Well, anyway, Returnal just came out for the PS5. It's a third-person action shooter roguelike game. As soon as I heard roguelike, I lost all interest in it because I'm not a fan of roguelike games. But here's the interesting thing about it. You think the PS5 would run the game maybe at least like 1440p if you want to keep 60 FPS. Nope. Runs at 1080p. 1080p. So anyway, what you're seeing here is footage from a YouTube channel called VG Tech. I'll have a link to all of the sources I cite in the description. And the game seems to be running at 1080p resolution, and then they upsample it and reconstruct it to achieve 4K at 60 FPS. But it's not even running at a full fat 4K. They're actually getting it to run about 1620p. And even with that, even with the game rendering at 1080p and they're upscaling it to the 1620p, it still goes down to the mid 40s in certain sections of the game. Now, trying to replicate that may be tough for you because it's a procedurally generated game, so no one's going to have the same exact game scenario each time. But 1080p and the game is dropping to 46 frames per second on a 9th gen console, even if the consoles are new. I mean, I saw footage of Returnal. It's a good-looking game, but I've seen better-looking games on 8th gen consoles. What's going on here? Now, look, I've praised the consoles for their hardware capabilities. They both have 8-core Zen 2 chips inside of them, Zen 2 CPUs, 8-core, 16 threads. They both have, well, so the PlayStation 5 has like a RDNA 1.5-esque GPU, but they both have RDNA 2 GPUs in there. With the GPU of the PlayStation 5 has a dynamic clock speed where it goes up to 10.2 teraflops of compute performance, where it goes up to 10.3 teraflops of compute performance, where the Xbox Series X is always a solid 12 teraflops of compute performance on its RDNA 2 GPU. So my point being is that these consoles are an impressive jump up from the previous tech in the 8th gen consoles, especially, oh my god, on the CPU side, those anemic, horrible Jaguar cores that I rip apart every time I talk about something like this. But I'm not all about resolution, and I know things like deep learning, super sampling, and AMD's Fidelity FX are going to make it where games can be rendered at lower resolutions and look like they're being actually rendered at native 4K. So they're going to use AI to upscale the game to where sometimes it actually looks better with deep learning super sampling than it does running at native 4K. They've actually showed instances of that. It's pretty impressive. But it just concerns me when we're this early on in the generation and games are they're already like pushing the limits of the consoles. Like 1080p and the game dropping below 60 FPS. I don't know. It's just unacceptable to me. I know there's other people in the community and there's other people that actually design games and know how to code that disagree with me on this. But as a person who's been building my own PCs and playing PC gaming forever, when I see things like this, I hope this doesn't end up holding back this generation. Now, look, if there's a game that comes out a couple months from now and it's a PS5 exclusive and it runs at 4K 60 or even 4K 120 with a performance mode, or even 1440p 120 with a performance mode, that'll impress me more. But when I see things like this with a game that looks visually like Returnal, it does concern me because we got a long generation ahead of us. And if we're already hitting the peak performance of these consoles, things are going to get held back. This is Rich of Review Tech USA signing out. Have a good one. Hey, if you enjoy my content, consider becoming a Review Tech USA member. I'll have a link below in the description. I live stream now on this channel all the time, and it gives you access to cool emoticons to use as well while I live stream. Again, link below in the description. Thank you for your continued support.